resist. I got another banana, one that I didn't have.
The peas have not performed as well as I was hoping. Most of them are dead.
So we've not mentioned much about voles, but we do have a vole problem. Sitting in the middle roughly, and I'm going to cut him in half.
Oh, that's so scary. I can't believe that you just hit them with your saw, just hacking away at them. Hello.
And welcome back to the wildlands. What we got tonight's episode, Missy?
Oh my goodness, it's gardening, gardening, gardening.
And some gardening.
I take you into the cold frame and into the hoop house for a little plant update.
And I do the outside borders on the banana circle.
That is looking so good.
It is, I must say, it is looking good, and I can't wait to show you later.
And we plant out some peppers and tomatoes in the food forest in our new little shady section.
And I've got another segment on plants for free, and tonight we're looking at bamboos. So enjoy tonight's episode. So another 2 weeks has passed on the wildlands now that we're on bi-weekly episodes, and another exciting gardening episode. And you've got a few bits of news as well, haven't you?
Yep, it's it's a bit of a light video. So we've given you a really good look around the garden as well, some beautiful shots of all the lovely stuff that's happening here. And it's been light because I've been away. I had to go back to England for my mum's funeral, and as soon as I got back, I was really, really ill and was in bed for, what, 4 or 5 days?
Yep.
So Dom had to do all the chores, so there was a little bit less filming. But I still think there's some good stuff, some interesting updates and stuff that we've been up to.
So first, let's go over to the banana circle, and I can show you my new border that's going to go round the outside.
Round the outside, round the outside.
So I'm back at the banana circle, and I'm at the side. You can see there's the left side of Mrs. Herb garden there, and we've got what's left of a terrace here, some over there, and then over on that side we get to the border of the land, and I want to tidy that up. So I want to carry this path round, which currently ends over there, and I need to do some more levelling. So I've already started levelling a bit here, then it drops off quite considerably and then goes back up. So I'm going to get some earth from over there, which is what's going to be our natural pond, level this out a bit, put some cardboard down, put wood chip on it, and then here at the sides I'm going to clear that. I'm going to plant some bamboos along the back here near the border. We've already got some new almond trees there, and then on my left side, or the right hand side of the back of Mrs. Herb garden here, where you can see the terrace again, this earth here that's now dried out on the back of the herb garden. You can see her last run, which is a mugwort hedge. So here I'm going to put in some carners, make the soil better, get some weeding done, and then going around there on the edge of what is the path, the bamboos. So let's get gardening. So cardboard down a bit, same or similar compost mix to last time. So I've got a couple of parts of home composted out of the compost bin. This stuff quite moist and quite manure heavy. Then underneath that I've got 1 bag of shop bought compost, and under that I've got some cow and sheep fertilizer bio, basically just rotted down. And I'm going to mix that all together. I'm going to raise this up a bit, and then I'm going to put a few bamboos along the back, and some other tropical plants in and around at the front, mainly carners I think, but I'll see how that goes as I get planting. So it's all good fun, eh? So looking good, and Rosie and I have been a little bit naughty as we went to Agriloja and bought a few new plants. So I couldn't resist, I got another banana, one that I didn't have. So applied that there, and then these are carnas that we grew ourselves from seed, so planted those out. We've got a lot of climbing nasturtiums, which we've also grown from seed, and then two larger carnas that we bought in Agriloja that we've planted out, one in flower with lovely pink flowers, and then two lanternas which we also got from Agriloja, which we planted out. They're not looking so happy. And then down the side, so far I've put in 4 bamboos with a load of carna durbans that I've propagated myself, and the idea is we're going to keep the bamboos going in a semicircle, so following the path that we put in down here, and then the bamboos will continue down this side, and then when they grow that will make a nice hedge here, and then on this side we'll have the cover of the bananas, and then we'll have this lovely semicircular path in the shade. So that's the next stage of the banana circle finished. I've also given the bananas a trim, you can see here. So basically going on the basis that 3 or 4 leaves promotes root growth and the onset of babies. And this one now has 8 babies. Since I've trimmed it, it's got another couple, and you can see it's quite upright. So I'm trimming off, chopping and dropping. You can see these rot down quite quickly. So the banana circle's doing very well. And you can see I've added a couple of stones to continue this round. And I'm going to plant some more bamboos in the next day or two and get some more plants in here as we slowly get towards the nature pond, which is behind the camera. So another good job done on the wildlands. So banana circle, I'm really pleased how that's looking. It's looking great, isn't it?
So beautiful.
So let's go over to the hoop house and have a look at your peas.
Ah, the peas. We're back in the hoop house for a little pea update. Sadly, it's not a very exciting update. The peas have not performed as well as I was hoping. I thought by this time, the amount of time they've been in the ground, they'd be twice as high as they are and starting to put some shade inside here, and they're very much not. Most of them are dead, and the ones that are not have powdery mildew. It's a sad little story. I think part of the problem, like these guys, you can see they're completely crispy. They haven't been getting enough water, and I think that's because I put my peas in before I put my irrigation in, and what I should have done was irrigation first with a drip line, so they got more water. Then we've had problems with voles burrowing under the ground and nibbling at roots, so even if they haven't lost all of their roots, they've lost some, so they're not able to get the water that is there. I think maybe they're actually getting too shaded here by the trees, so they didn't get really tall earlier on in the season. They've just stayed really short and they've stopped flowering. So I've learned my lesson. I shall try peas for a 3rd time next year, and I'll try putting them somewhere else and making sure my irrigation's in first. But for now, I think I'm just going to rip all of these guys out, give them to the chickens who will love them, and grow cucumbers up here instead for this year.
So quite sad about the peas.
Yes.
I think
you learn. Every failure is not a failure, it's just a learning experience.
Absolutely, because last year in version 1 of the food forest we learnt a lot, didn't we?
Yeah.
And I still think a lot of it is vole related. So we've not mentioned much about voles, but we do have a vole problem. So the upside is we don't have any slugs, we don't have any snails, but we have voles. Yep. And we have quite a few voles.
And I was quite pleased. We had about the same amount of peas this year that we had last year, which is about 1 large bowl full of peas. So it wasn't a complete failure. Next year will be better. No, we were just expecting to get lots of peas that we could eat regularly and that they would keep going. Yeah. So we'll look at the peas, look at their location and or the vole issue. Yep. Oh, you're being attacked by an almond tree. This gorgeous almond is so crazy this year. I'm so pleased with it. It's thrilling. Last year, on successes, we had great success with our peppers until we ran out of water. So this year, with all our water preparations that we've shown you on our last couple of videos, we've got lots of peppers going in, haven't we? It was very exciting. Yes. So I've planted a lot of padron peppers, which Rosie grew for us, so that's exciting in itself. And then you've done a big bed of peppers as well, haven't you, in your spiral? There's a lizard running under the camera. He's like this big. Yes, that's what the spiral was for. Quite narrow beds, but I thought peppers are perfect because they get about yay high and they bush out nicely, and then you can pick them as you go around. And doing a little dance like that. Yeah, that's the one. The pepper picking dance. Pepper picking. Yep, and with Peter Piper. Peter Piper pepper. Can't even say it.
The asparagus looking great with the peppers in.
Gorgeous, yes, so yeah, I'm really pleased with that. It's filling out just how I hoped.
It is, yep. And we put some tomatoes in, didn't we?
Yes, the tomatoes were looking a little bit sad. Because I had to go away, I did not get them out of their pots quick enough or into the ground quick enough, so they were all a bit wilty and a bit leggy. But I think we've probably saved them by putting them out.
I think so, yeah. They were very pot bound, but a week or two and they'll be full of energy. And we tried different things. Some we planted at an angle, and some we planted 6 or 8 inches deeper than they were currently growing, which is a good method on tomatoes. And
yeah, they will grow roots out of their stems.
Yeah, and some of the more bushier ones we just planted at pot level.
Yep.
So we'll see how they're doing, and we'll show you again in a couple of weeks how they've perked up, hopefully. Oh, thanks. So it's all about planting today, isn't it? So this is going to become part of Tomatoville.
Tomato world, yeah, because of the shade.
Yep.
I think they'll help stop them crisping. They've actually gotten far too big for their pots.
Yep. So do we want to plant them sort of 3 inches lower than normal and remove the lower leaves like you're supposed to?
Yeah, although I saw something interesting as well. If you don't want to dig deep down, because that's quite a way to dig in our hard soil that's underneath the nice bit, you do it sideways.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So are they all different, or have we got duplicates?
These ones I believe are all different. So you got, and most of them are bush variety. There's a couple of cordon varieties, but they won't fit in my hoop house with the cordons, so they're just going to have to take their chances.
So do you want to plant some upright and some on the sides and see what does better? Or some lower and some not?
Well, some of them are fine, like that guy over there, which is a cherry miel du Mexique. Little red cherry tomatoes, but very, very tasty. We liked them last year.
He's fine as he
looks
is.
Quite good, so he could maybe just have a little bit of his stem buried.
And the other one maybe.
This guy's gone a bit leggy, so maybe sideways.
Yep. All right. I'll start that side. You go this side, yeah?
Okay.
You'll already have seen in the banana circle new border that I've put a lot of bamboos in, 8 or 9 bamboos. So now let's head over to Adom's Plants for Free, and I'll show you how you can aggressively chop up bamboos and get yourself a lot of free bamboos.
You've got to be brave to do this.
You've got to be brave. So yeah, bring your carving knives with you. So here's Plants for Free. So I've got a big saw, a bow saw, and I've got a very pot bound bamboo here, which is the same bamboo that I split a couple of years ago, for those of you that have followed us for that long. And you can keep splitting bamboos ad infinitum, so you get lots of free plants, which is particularly great when a bamboo like this would cost you 40, 50 or 60 euros in the shop or garden centre. So this is particularly pot bound, you can see, and he's not going to get any bigger, and in fact a lot of him has gone around in a circle, so it's actually doing him a favour. So when he's that pot bound, you can't really do very much in terms of splitting him other than being very, very aggressive. So I'm going to kind of find some sort of middle ground. Let's have a look. Sort of down here, and then I'm just going to get my saw, sit him in the middle roughly, and I'm going to cut him in half. So there we go, now we have 2 halves. These brown bits, just pull them off. Let's get these weeds out of here. Lots of stinky chamomiles, which is related to normal chamomile, but not nice and very weedy. So I'm going to get that out. Even more over this side. So, and then once you've cut him in half, you can decide whether you want to cut them in half again or even into thirds. And as long as you have one of these with some roots or some roots with a culm, it will carry on growing. I'll take you in the greenhouse in a minute and I'll show you what I mean. So I'm not really sure if I want to cut that in half again. And it probably will do him a favour. I think we'll go across sort of half. Go. So there's 2 bamboos. I think they'll be adequate now. What about you? There we go. So that's 4 bamboos. So I started. So then you can have a look at this guy. So he's got a few roots on him, so he's worth going in water. So I'll take you in the greenhouse and show you some of the other splits I've done on bamboos. So all of these here are literally just individual stems that I've pulled out of the ground. And as long as they have a bit of a root on, as I said earlier, you can plant them up. And if the roots are very minimal, you can put them in a jug of water or a jar of water first until it gets more roots and then plant it. But you can see out of all of them, they're all regrowing apart from maybe this one, but quite often they do send culms out of the roots at a later date, so all is not lost. So basically when we moved to the wildlands, I went to the local nursery and I bought 5 bamboos that were very pot bound, similar to the one that I've just cut up, and I did exactly what I've just done. And every bamboo that you've seen in our videos all around the land have all come from those original 5 pots. So I'm starting to run low because I'm now planting them in the ground, and when they're in the ground you can just get these suckers or shoots out. But again, in a couple of years this guy here will be as big as the one that I've just cut up. So plants for free for the win.
Oh, that's so scary. I can't believe that you just hit them with your saw, just hacking away at them. At least you know that it worked last year.
It did, yeah, it's fabulous. The ones that I did the same technique last year are so healthy, and it's such a great method of propagation, particularly if you've got big bamboos. And if you've got bamboos that are in the ground, you can get yourself a fork, your garden fork, dig up a massive clump, same process, hack it up with a saw or a bread knife, and then any bits that you have with culms that have roots, they can go in pots. Any odd shoots of bamboos with bits of roots, they can go in a pot.
Be brave.
Yeah, any that have no roots, stick them in a jar with some water. Get a very good result with most bamboos, so yeah, be brave.
Excellent.
So let's go back to the banana circle and get those planted in the ground. And we're back again with more soil. Give it a bit of a mix. So I've got 3 completely different homegrown 2nd-year-old carnas, small because they've been contained in a pot, and that is Carna Jaegariana, and that is a Carna indica, which is the same as the bulbs that I've bought, and that is another Carna Jaegariana. And these are all Carna indicas, 2 bulbs in a pack, very cheap, €2, so €1 a Carna. So basically these 4 bamboos here, these are 2nd generation, so they were cut last March, so not the March we've just had, the one before. And the very big bamboos that are outside the chickens were propagated the year before that, so these are 2nd generation. The ones by the chicken are 1st generation, and I think I've cut them all now, and then I've probably got about 20 or 30 smaller pots with various little shoots that will eventually get as big as this. And this is quite a big bamboo, gets to about 8 foot, so it's going to form a lovely hedge. We quite often get bamboo naysayers on the channel as well, people that are worried that bamboos are invasive. So worth pointing out that there's about 500 or so different bamboos. Some won't even grow here. Some are exceptionally invasive, some are clumping, so there's all different types. So these are basically clumping. We've had people say, oh yes, but clumping bamboos, they'll still take over your land. And the answer is no, they won't. We've experimented, and if you don't water these bamboos, they don't survive in the temperatures that we get here. So these will be watered. I'm happy for them to climb up the border, but they'll only go as far as they can get water while they're being watered here. So if we were to leave the property and they weren't watered, they would not survive. So all is good with the bamboos. Anyway, waffle aside, let's get these carners in the ground. So that's another 4 foot or so of the edge of the banana circle finished. So to summarise, we've got another 4 bamboos in, the ones that we split in plants for free. We've got 7 or 8 carners spread around the middles of the bamboos, same as the other end. And then I've also just put some nasturtiums along the front. So that's that part finished for today. And then we've got about another 4 foot of the bamboo and carner border to finish off the circle. So that's going to come out to about here. And then we've just got this path to finish. We move the chestnut right to the back. So here's our beautiful tangerine tree, which you'll remember from a previous episode. We're not putting in the ground because it's the wrong time of year. And last year we made that mistake. We put a lemon in the early summer and it didn't make it through the winter. What we'll do is we'll wait until mid-autumn, which is the best time to plant citrus, and then we'll put her in here. But for now it's just staying in the pot well watered. And the little bed around it this morning, which I didn't film, I've put in 8 padron peppers, which Rosie grew for me. So thanks very much, Rosie, for those. And what's quite funny is I planted padrons from seed, and so did Missy, and we didn't have any success at all. And Rosie got about 16, so she very kindly donated these to me to go in my padron pepper border. So if you're not familiar with padron peppers, but you might have had padron peppers when you've been on holiday in the Med or in Spain, or if you've been to tapas in the UK, as we did and have done many times. Padron peppers are little green peppers, sometimes spicy but usually not, and you fry them in salt. So in the summer, when we've got a crop of padrons, myself or Missy will show you how to fry them. Absolutely delightful. You can grow them in a greenhouse undercover in the UK, or perhaps in a cold frame, keeping them fairly hot and humid. So worth a try, and they are delicious. So here we've got lovely baby padrons, and I look forward to eating those later in the summer.
And now I'm just going to take you over to the cold frame for a very little look, because there's not actually, oh hello, there's not actually a great deal left in my cold frame because I've been so busy getting out over the last few days.
Oh, that's good news, isn't it?
We're back at the cold frames for a little update on all my seedlings, except that my seedlings aren't seedlings anymore, they're all great big plants. I particularly wanted to show you this guy. He's looking a little bit wilty in the heat, but he'll recover. I wanted to show you this because it's so exciting. This guy is a honey bear squash, and he's lost his label, but he is definitely honey bear squash. I've never grown these guys before. And look, he's got one over here that's shriveled up, and that's because this one has not been, oh, there we go. This guy hasn't been pollinated, but this one has. So we're going to get a squash on there. I'm reluctant to put this one outside because I don't want him to get eaten by voles. He's the only one that I have. So he's staying in here until we've got some kind of protection. Then these, you might remember I was growing rhubarb from seed, and I have some out in the garden doing quite well. And these guys, with his little crinkly rhubarb leaf, he's doing so well. I've got 3 of these, even with his little pink stems. Very exciting. So I'm going to let them get just a little bit bigger before they also go outside. Moving along just a touch, we have over here, this is a tray of rocket and lettuces and mustards and a few more sunflowers. We wanted to have sunflowers growing in succession this year, so while we've got these guys are just little, other ones that are out in the ground that are sort of about a foot tall, and then other ones that are almost in flower. So hopefully that will mean we have sunflowers all through the season. At the back there you can see the ornamental cabbages. I've told you about them before. They're just about big enough to go out in the ground. And they all have slightly different stem colours, so I'm hoping they will be all fabulous. They should be pink and white and green and yellow. I haven't decided actually where they're going to go in the garden yet, so that's the next task. We have these, which look beautiful, and they're thriving, and they're supposed to be peppermints, but I'm not actually sure that they are peppermints, because if you give the leaf a good old rub and a crush like that, and then you sniff it, it does not smell anything like mint, but it looks like mint. So, mystery plants. And then this stuff, oh my goodness, isn't it doing well? This is my chamomile, and I'm so pleased with this. I've got pots and pots of the stuff. And when that comes up to flower, I'm going to harvest it and use it as tea. And my final little success is Comfrey that I grew from seed. He's doing quite well. And again, I've just been a bit too scared to put him outside. I didn't want him to get eaten or wilt or what have you, but I think he's ready to go out now, so I'll find him a nice little spot in the garden. What a gorgeous garden we've got going on at the moment.
Yeah, it's looking nice, isn't it?
So beautiful. The flowers and the butterflies and everything's obviously gotten its roots down. It's enjoying the warmth that we've had and the 10 tons of water we've been putting into the ground. And it's just exploding, isn't it?
And the new irrigation system is great, isn't it?
It is, yes. Instead of having to hoik big, heavy watering cans full of water for 3 hours, now it's just a little watering can here or there to do the odd pot, and then just turn on the tap, turn off the tap. And the rest of the time you get to just enjoy everything, don't you?
Yeah.
Eat a few strawberries, admire the flowers. So yeah, I'm really loving it.
And I forgot that was another chore that I did while you were away. I put the irrigation on everywhere, and then I waited until the ground started to get wet, and I looked at the dry patches and I tweaked and added little jets and a few more bits, which we're doing as we go, so that we don't have any patches of ground that are left over.
Yep, that's the way to do it.
So thanks very much for watching, and we'll see you again in a couple of weeks here from the wildlands.
I'll see you soon.
Bye.
Bye.